Josh Markson, organizer with Alphabet Workers.
Introduce yourself again.
I'm Josh Markson. I'm a software engineer in cloud, Google Cloud, and also an organizer with Alphabet Workers Union.
And who is the Alphabet Workers Union?
The Alphabet Workers Union is the union of Google workers. We're a wall-to-wall union, so we organize workers at Google, at other bets underneath Alphabet, and also temps, contractors, and anyone who works in that Google ecosystem.
So not just engineers, you're talking about all workers who work for Google.
Yes,
and subcontractors
right.
too?
Yes, that's right.
Yep. So you decided that you're going to support this. What is it all about?
Right. So I mean, there's our company has chosen to tie a significant portion of its revenue to Israeli apartheid. We've learned through recent journalism that Google Cloud products are going to be used by the Israeli Defense Force. And some of the reporting has really concerning implications for how it's going to be used. In particular, we're really worried that the existing surveillance network that the Israeli Defense Force maintains over most Palestinian territories is going to be augmented with our technology, making it that much more efficient and intelligent. Also, when workers like Ariel Koren have spoken out, raising their concerns about this, and other workers as well, they've been retaliated against. And Ariel last week was pushed to resign due to her concerns. So we're here to show support for Ariel, to show support for the workers who have these concerns. Many other workers have reported less severe but still unsettling interactions with HR for things as innocuous as identifying as Palestinian American, saying...
Isn't that illegal to discriminate against people because of their national identity?
Yeah, I think so, but I'm not really super confident on the legality of that. I think you'd have to talk to somebody about that. In any case, it's unacceptable. Google has this phrase, bring your whole self to work, that it likes to tell its employees. And if you can't be the person you are from the country you are at work, then that's a double standard, and that's unacceptable.
Well, Google and other companies say that they make a lot of profit from this. It's U.S. government allowed. U.S. government is supporting that. What was your argument about why they shouldn't do it?
I mean, as I said before, there's an ever-strengthening consensus among international community that the Israeli occupation of Palestinian territories is an international crime. We know the living conditions in these areas are really awful. Most people are struggling to survive. They're constantly monitored 24/7. They can't go from place to place without encountering checkpoints.
So it's like a concentration camp.
Well, I
wouldn't say that.
I wouldn't say that. I think the facts speak for themselves. It's an awful situation. It's been labeled as apartheid by Amnesty International. So yes, and I think Google has a long history of being able to be profitable off of innocuous and non-harmful applications, and I think there are a lot more applications that we can explore before we have to go to the Israeli Defense Force and participate in that.
Well, IBM in the 40s was involved in providing technology to the Germans, the Nazis, which was used to identify Jews, and apparently they made a lot of money off it. I mean, it seems like morality has very little to do with companies these days.
Google has said, that Google released in the wake of organizing by employees in 2018 against the Maven contract that they had these AI principles. And among those principles, it said we would not work in applications that would do harm, that would, surveil in violation of international norms. And this contract, the fact that we're willing to take this contract shows that one way or another, we're not sticking to these principles, at least not the spirit of the principles. So absolutely, yeah, I think Google's actions speak louder than their words, and yeah, they're choosing profit over human rights.
What can people do about this?
So there's a lot. I think there's a shoot. I don't know. There should have been
contact AWU.
Yeah, contact Alphabet Workers Union. There's a website called NoTechForApartheid.org. Or maybe .com actually, that has a lot more information and context. There is a public version of the petition. Unfortunately, we have a petition calling on Google and Amazon to pull out of this project, but unfortunately I don't have the URL for that right now.
And is AWU, they're part of the CWA?
Yes.
And have they come against AWU, Google?
As far as we know, we've received full support from CWA. Google has Google has remained silent up until now. I think at this point we have a really large crowd here, a lot of people from community, a lot of workers who are here who are concerned about this, and I think Google is going to have to respond to us pretty soon.
Team, and she is a member of the Alphabet Workers Union. Paxton! Hi everyone, I'm a Jewish Googler and Nixon militarist. Thank you so much for coming today. Over the last 5 years, Google has bid on at least 5 major military contracts, at least that we're aware of. Google has not been very transparent with its workers, so a lot of what we do know is from third-party sources, but what we do know is that Google has shown a pattern of assisting the military and the police. Google started pursuing and being granted various certifications for government contracting about 5 years ago. Just a year after its first certification, Google started aggressively pursuing military contracts, starting with Project Nimbus in 2017, a $250 million contract providing AI that could be used to improve drone strikes. And then bidding 2 years later in 2019 on a contract with the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, the CBP. This took place right in the midst of a public outcry of children in cages being separated from their families and immigrants dying in custody. And just last year, Google was awarded the $1.2 billion contract that is Project Nimbus. Same with the CBP bid, this took place right in the midst of a public outcry, but this time against Israel's human rights violations during the Safe Shake Straw campaign. Going in direct opposition to the widely publicized public discourse around the CBP and the human rights violations in Israel, Google has shown how uncommitted it is to using its technology responsibly by going after these contracts anyway. And this year, Google has bid on and is set to be awarded a contract building the DoD's Joint Warfighting Cloud Capability, the JWCC program, building the next generation of U.S. military technology. From what we do know as workers, about Google's militarism, we have not had input on. When the CBP contract was revealed, Google's leadership told its workers their tech would not be used to harm immigrants on the southern border, yet the Intercept confirmed it in a 2020 article that the CBP was indeed using our image recognition software at the border. And for the JWCC contract this year that Google was awarded, a Google spokesperson directly admitted our AR principles basically don't apply, and the military can use our technology however they want. Her project made that employees and academics mobilized with open letters and activism, and over a dozen employees resigned in 2018. This activism played a direct part in Google not seeking renewal of the contract. So let's mobilize here for Project Nimbus, so please continue to sign the petitions, march, and speak out. Thank you.
Alonso Salas. I'm here because I think technology should help everybody. I don't think we should be building technology that, forces subjugation or oppressive acts on people. So yeah, I think tech should be for everyone.
And what companies are doing this?
All the big tech companies. They're all in on it. It's corporations everywhere. And we need to challenge that structure itself.
How does it harm people in Palestine?
It harms them. But
would you compare it to like what IBM did during the Second World War, where they supplied the Germans, Nazis, with technology to incarcerate Jews?
I think it's all in the pursuit of profit. There's no human aspect to it, I think
So you're urging these companies not to do this business?
Yeah, definitely.
They say it's necessary for profit.
Yeah, for profit, or for nebulous terms of defense, but it's really to reinforce power structures and really tell who's in charge. AWU is Alphabet Workers Union. We represent everyone under Alphabet.
My name is Wind Kaufman. I teach technology at City College of San Francisco, and it breaks my heart that some of these students will blindly work for a company and not realize what it's doing. So I really applaud the workers here today that are taking a stand and getting in touch with their humanity and saying we are not going to support this brutal occupation of Israel and Palestine.
Do you think Google's doing it for profit, or they actually support the policy of Israel?
I think it's purely profit. I mean, this is capitalism. It's run by profit. It doesn't matter whether you're oppressing people, whether you're polluting the environment. I mean, the bottom line is what's profitable, and because it's capitalism.
And you're also teaching at City College. San Francisco has a lot of billionaires, 80 billionaires, wealth.
Yeah.
Why are they closing classes and shutting down San Francisco City College?
Thank you for asking that question. Yes, City College, San Francisco does not understand the jewel that it has lost in City College. We had a political attack by the accreditors in 2012. It is now 2022, and the school is a former shadow of itself. We've had 38 tenured instructors laid off last spring, and that's in addition to the hundreds of part-times. The course offerings are a pittance. I have students trying to get into my engineering classes that can't do it, let alone the classes that have totally disappeared, like music, art. It's heartbreaking.
They have a lot of profits that they're making. It seems like it's not going into public education.
Exactly. I mean, we've got money going into the prison industrial complex. It shows you where our priorities are. So, and the story's a little bit more complicated at City College. There is money. I know the newspapers make it look like there's not money and that they had to lay off these teachers. It's not true. This has been a political agenda that has been realized, and it's not about money.
What can people do who want to support the Google workers?
The what workers?
The Google workers. How can they support this struggle?
Good question. I don't know what the asks are. I would say write letters to Google executives, write letters to your Congress people, your elected officials. If wherever you work, if you're in an industry that's supporting apartheid in some way, make a stand.
Please welcome Ray Westrick, a software engineer, also a member of the Alphabet Workers Union, speaking out against Project Nimbus. Thank you all for having me. My name is Ray. I'm a software engineer at Google and a member of the Alphabet Workers Union. And I'm here today because I believe I have a moral obligation to speak out against Project Nimbus and condemn the surveillance and oppression of Palestinians that Google technology would facilitate through this contract with the Israeli military. I'm horrified at the idea of Google technology being used to enable apartheid and settler colonialism, and I strongly believe we cannot uphold our mission of respecting our users when we are allowing our work to be used to surveil Palestinians and force them off their land. I'm so grateful for Ariel and all the Google workers who have risked retaliation to speak out against Project Nimbus, and I'm grateful to be here in solidarity with tech workers at Google, Amazon, and beyond who are refusing to uphold apartheid with the technology we build. I truly believe that our unity as workers is the key to making meaningful change, and that with collective action, we can stop Google from pursuing military contracts with Israel and beyond. It was Polaroid worker solidarity and action that stopped Polaroid from enabling South African apartheid in 1970. It was international dock worker solidarity that helped halt South African apartheid. It was Google worker solidarity in action that helped stop Google's Department of Defense AI contract through Project Maven. And today, I believe Google and Amazon worker solidarity in action can stop our companies from enabling Israeli apartheid and instead build technology that will serve and uplift our users. We'll never be defeated!
The people united!
We'll never be defeated!
The people united!
We'll never be defeated!
The people united!
We'll never be defeated!
Down with apartheid.
Josh!
Thank you, Ariel. Thank you, everybody. I am so excited to be here taking action with so many of my coworkers and with community groups. I just got a message from some folks who couldn't make it up to SF, but who decided to spread the word down at the South Bay offices where Cloud is headquartered. They just handed out their 400th flyer, and they are out. So that's 400 more workers who are going to be knowing about the injustices being committed by our employer. I am so proud to see Palestinian and Jewish workers coming together to denounce the injustices being committed with our labor. I am so proud to see workers who don't come from those backgrounds showing up to take our share of the responsibility. Because the fact of the matter is, all of us are now in the fray, whether we chose to or not, regardless of our background. By taking this contract, given the ever-strengthening consensus that the Israeli occupation of Palestine is an international crime, given that the IDF currently maintains one of the world's most comprehensive automated surveillance systems over all of Palestine, 24/7, and given recent journalism exposing strong suggestions that our products will be integrated into these surveillance systems, making them that much more efficient and intelligent. Google has made it impossible, and Amazon as well, has made it impossible for workers at these companies to stay on the sidelines. The Nimbus contract is structured such that all sectors of the Israeli government, including the IDF, must get access to our products. In essence, we've been conscripted into the IDF's war. By showing up here today, workers of all backgrounds are saying that we will not abandon the responsibility to ensure that the technologies that we build will be used responsibly, even if leadership has abandoned that responsibility. We will not be complicit in ongoing dehumanization, subjugation, and displacement of millions of innocent people. We see through the divide and conquer tactics, and we're not going to fall for it. And we won't let coworkers facing repression in our workplace or in their homelands be singled out to face it alone. For every worker speaking here today, hundreds more are standing behind them. We rallied behind Ariel, and we will rally again if Google decides to retaliate further against our coworkers. Thank you. Solidarity.
What's your name?
Josh. Project Nimbus crosses a line that Israel's occupation of Palestine is demonstrably apartheid, and I think Google was built on stronger ideals than they're showing today.
So why are they doing this? If their ideals?
Well, money. It's $1 billion contract with Israeli government.
And you're concerned about how it's going to be used?
Yes, absolutely. My work will be used to persecute and oppress. Yes, that's. I can't let that happen.
And how do other workers at Google feel about this? Are they aware of it?
Yeah, most are just worried about their own jobs, I'd say. But yeah, they care. Yeah, everybody has to find their own balance, but to me, I think it's past the point where I could just let it happen.
How long have you worked at Google?
4 years.
4 years. And why did you join a union?
It's the right thing to do. I think. I live in a democracy. This country is a democracy. Google is hundreds of thousands of employees, and I think being run by a few shareholders is not. Well, it may be sustainable, but not in a good world.
You think having a union is going to change that?
Yeah, I think it'll put some accountability on the executives. Yeah, I think it'll give workers more of a voice, and it's well worth. Right now, I'm just paying 1% of my income. Yeah, so I think Yeah, just more people need to step up.